It was whose warehouse?
Garmin Oref. He owns Silver's Call, and most people are quite sure that he also runs the local, what goes for
Did
a
he start
thieves
letting you
gang.
drink any time recently?
No, not recently, although I do believe that he doesn't always offer it. He started offering it again after the torch went out, I'm pretty sure. And then before that, it appears every couple of years, really.
Well,
I wouldn't drink it.
that would probably warrant some investigation, if nothing else.
Yeah. Quite some.
I feel like this guy's not a huge asshole, but he's a bit of an asshole.
He looks to Chantal. Do you think he's redeemed himself now?
She looks at him. It's just pure disgust in her eyes looking down at him. He's a member of an organization that has enslaved and murdered people for generations.
That is true, yes.
Well, and while I will not dispute that fact, I have never done any of those things personally, and would of course never do any of those things. I, like the good old professor over there, am just curious about these things and would like to understand them more. And to get access, well, one has to know certain circles, and sometimes those circles are very, well, not good to people, unfortunately.
I would have, I would suggest that he would have gone to the University of Leopardstadt, but I think that's for citizens only.
She snorts. Well, professional curiosity indeed. Willing to
I don't blame him, that's why I'm here.
But you haven't walked over corpses made of the innocent to get here, Professor.
According to him, he hasn't either. I'm inclined to believe him. He doesn't look like he has particularly, like his boots are made for corpse stepping.
You seemed disappointed that Conor Bain was back.
Well, I'm honestly not disappointed. I'm quite excited, really. But we've never gotten along very well. I think he knew and didn't like me either.
Well, perhaps it's fitting then that he should have the decision then.
Can you tell us anything about the current goings on in the Technic League? What are they planning and such?
Oh, the Technic League is planning many things, I'm sure, but the big plans, they don't tell me. I suppose if that would be a possibility, I could try to find out for you.
No.
How long
I think that's
have
too
you...
dangerous. I believe what's probably best for you is to resign from the Technic League and go far away.
I could do
For how
that.
long have you been spying on Torch?
A couple of years now. Essentially, my position as a traveling merchant came first, and then I got a very interesting offer to essentially do what I always do, come here and talk to people, but report to my superior about those things afterwards.
And in return?
In return, I was promised that I would eventually maybe rise high enough in the ranks to get access to the well-kept secrets of the Technic League, of course.
The pin he has, does it signify his rank in any way?
It does, and it does support his statement that he is not a very high-ranking member.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, I will nod reluctantly at that statement at least. And then she looks over to us and say, the pin suggests that he's speaking the truth in that regard. However, she looks down at him, a high-ranking member could of course just pick up another pin. There's nothing stopping them.
So, how do we determine if he's an evil man?
He's from the Technic League, of course he is.
In the tribes, there are sometimes times where we walk out into the desert to find the shamans and the spirits. Most come back horribly scarred, but it is a mark of pride that you are indeed a worthy man.
I think we should discuss it with the council.
I suppose that is fine, she looks at him. Last time I trusted one of these cretins, I ended up in a bloody mess in a crater.
Well, we'll have to wait until Conor is good. I suppose we could find a barrel to put him in. So looks around.
Chandala picks up rope from somewhere. basically ties him up.
He will not object.
She won't tie him up like in a very uncomfortable position, so he will lose his arms or anything. But it definitely tie him up in a way that he can't actually, move away.
Should we move him to the council building or just keep him here?
I don't know. Well, could one of you run off and... I mean, this is really more, Zaren's field. I feel like he would know. Could one of you go and tell him? He might not care right now, but...
Shonda will drag him up to the corner here.
Okay.
And she will basically... She will sit here with a rifle over her legs looking at him. Ready to shoot if he does anything.
Oh,
I could be very useful to you if you were willing to
Don't...
give me a
What
chance
sort
at
of
this.
uses could you have?
Well, I took the title, the subtitle for my shop in for knickknacks, not without reason, you see.
But how could you make her trust you?
I could. Shrugs. It might be honestly
Half of
rather
the
impossible.
spirits. You would have to find a shaman, but if the spirits would vouch for your honor, then such a thing could be done.
I
Okay.
know that clerics sometimes have the ability to tell a man's soul. She looks at him. Maybe one of the temple could do it, although they are somewhat preoccupied at the moment. Perhaps, wait until
I
tomorrow.
mean, this isn't really our fight, to be honest. He's been spying on these people. It should be their decision what happens to him, I believe.
yes, I think we should wait a little
Sort of
while for
walk
the
him.
things to calm down with Conor. I think everyone is in an uproar right now in the city or the town.
Maybe that's what's necessary for things to happen. When Conor disappeared, it took them days to do anything about it. I was there with Zaren when he continuously asked them to do something. Perhaps what they need is a decisive hand.
Conor might be that hand then.
Or if someone would go and tell Zaren what's going on.
I think he is rather preoccupied.
Hmm.
Perhaps, but it seems rude to not tell him that we are holding a Technic League spy that was snooping around in his ancestral home. It seems like the sort of thing he would want to know. I can go tell him if you will keep this man occupied.
I'll keep looking at him, yes.
Or Rotha will go and find him. Using that, That was the thing.
In this time at the church, quite a few things have already happened. First of all, Val has arrived, shouting all the way, despite her headache that she often likes to tell people that she has at the moment. And Durham has indeed found a way to at least help Conor, although he says temporarily, to the point where he is able to speak.
Good. Zoran will stop rapidly fluctuating between his different animal foci as he stalks left and right in the temple.
After multiple castings of spells by both the Acolytes and the Clockfather, Conor eventually turns to Zarin, saying, "Zarin, it's good to see you."
Zoran will immediately stop mid-focus and come to his boots scrape against the floor, and he stares at, and his face twitches. losing control of his emotions. I didn't know whether I'd see you again.
I didn't know either, and although I thought that I would rather not have you go down there, it turns out that that was indeed rather good of you that you disregarded my opinion on that. Not sure how long I could have held out down there.
Zoran will walk closer and sort of slump over next to where Connor's laying. What happened down there? How did that?
Well, I don't know how much time I have left. I should be fine now, thanks to the clockfather here. Although I do feel the nanites doing their thing again. They are suppressed but not gone yet. What happened? Well, you know about my first expedition where I actually came back. We found that robot, a maintenance droid, so my thought. And then we went back. We went through a underground desert of sorts, meeting rather some nasty things that you probably have met too at this point.
Zoran nods.
Well, we found the rest of the metal hallways and the rooms, part of some vehicle, I think, that also the dome was part of. Must have crashed here thousands of years ago at this point. And, well, as it turns out, we found more of those robots. Not only the maintenance droids, but rather bigger and nastier ones. They took apart my group rather proficiently. Knocked us all out cold, and, well, the next thing I know, they put me on one of those beds with arms, metal arms. Just, it looks like they were doing some sort of medical operation, but instead of doing something to help me, they were just fooling around. Just stops.
Zoran rapidly shakes his head. We didn't see anyone from your expedition, other than, well, he wasn't in that area with you. You were the only one who's being operated on like that.
Oh,
we found, and he sort of stops. I had to tell Amelia that her fiance sort of twitches, and we haven't seen any of the others.
I suppose we all agreed that we knew the risks when we went down there, but I'd never think. Did you find out what happened?
Yes, Train. Well, Amelia's fiance, he russet mold and brown mold knocked him unconscious and killed him.
And to the torch, I'm sure the answer's still down there. I didn't manage to.
We had not, as of yet, not delved any deeper. The moment I saw you, we
How many days have passed since
Zoran will utilize his android brain and tell Conor how much time has passed.
It would be 6 days at this point.
You have been gone for almost a week, Conor.
That is troublesome. Well, I went down, probably know this, but I went down there because I saw, footprints on the shores of the Weaving Pond. Many someones in fact, went down there, but I don't suppose you have spotted anyone, because I know that we didn't.
Zoran shakes his head. There was the gray-skinned humanoids, but I'm sure you encountered them already.
Oh yes, we did manage to convince them to leave us alone.
The only individuals I saw skulking around there that would have left footprints was that, I suppose since Conor has an attitude towards Sandville, that Zoran would know Conor's attitude towards Sandville.
The attitude of Conor towards Sanvor is a rather guarded one. He does respect his knowledge, but he does not respect him as a person for reasons that he has not elaborated on.
Okay. The only person, Connor, that we've seen leaving footprints there was the day prior when we were leaving the caverns. We caught Sanville. Sanville trapped. He was actually behind us, wandering in the caverns.
Of course, that little leech would be. Figured it would be a good time to let you handle the dangers while he just looks around and does his thing.
Is this my cue?
Could be. Sure. Roll for arrives.
Zarin, slumped over, basically Connor on the bed.
He sort of has jogged the entire way. And he's a little bit... When at this point sort of jogs in, looks down, Val, and nods, and looks at Conor, the Clockfather, Zarin, sort of basically trying to get an idea what's going on.
Zarin will slowly rotate his head to look over at Rothor.
He's awake. Good.
Conor looks at Rothor with a moment of confusion.
We've caught the merchant. He was broken into the Foundry Tavern.
Zarin's body, already emotionally unstable, twitches.
He was trying to take the droids, the broken ones. He also so looks at all of you and sort of says, he confessed after we found a sigil on him that he was a spy from the Technic League sent here to spy on the town and its citizens. He also knew about the way down into the Weeping Pond. We didn't know what to do with him, so I came to ask if you had any precedents.
Zarin will look down at Connor and say, "You said nanites."
Yeah, nanites. They are very, very small robots, essentially, that are so small that they can go into your body, and I do believe that is what currently is trying to do something in my head. At the moment, the Clockfather's magic has managed to suppress them, although he is still looking for more permanent healing.
Zarin will lift his head and glare over at Rothor. Then I will, on behalf of Connor, answer this intrusion into our home. If Sanville is actually someone from the Technic League, then perhaps he would actually know something about these nanites. Should he actually be able to fix Connor, then maybe. Maybe.
All right, then I'll go get him.
I'll come with you. Val. And Zarin will give a concerned look down at Val and sort of press his hand to her forehead, since he knows that she has a headache.
Yeah, Val is currently aggressively hugging Connor's uninjured leg.
Zarin will let her go and begin following after Rothor.
Or a little jog back. On the way, between his breaths, he will also say that apparently the guy did first go around the house checking all the windows to see that Val was safely sleeping in her bed before he...
Zarin will actually begin hissing about the evils of the Technic League as well.
Oh. Yeah, all right. Well, he also confessed that he'd been spying on the town for several years.
That's even better.
Basically, he'll tell him what we gouged out of him.
All right.
I think that he personally is not that bad.
You're looking it's like watching.
He only worked for,
No, the Technic League is obviously awful, but this guy proved his case.
Oh, so he's probably one of the good Nazis. He's not that bad of a Nazi.
I was trying to find a different reference, but
no, for real.
Look, you've triggered sheep now. Now
It
this
only
this
worked-
this session is over because of you.
Sheep
No, it's
flips.
not.
Sheep flips his internet.
No, like he's like one of the German soldiers that wasn't a Nazi but was like he
Well, like
wanted
one of
to
the
defend his
scientists.
country.
Look, it doesn't have the same ring to it. Don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Technic League. It doesn't work. And now it's springtime.
Like extra hitting like the
Springtime for Starfall and Numeria.
Was the door actually unlocked though? Like, are the other doors unlocked?
The other doors are not unlocked.
So he fucking unlocked the door.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Rotha was sort of run, assuming the door's unlocked, to smash into it.
Shauna will look behind and say, I think Rotor is here.
Oh, okay.
He also said that the doors were unlocked, which is clearly not.
Of course, I make sure that the doors are locked before I leave every day.
I'll open the door for
That's what I
Rotor.
thought. So it goes in like, ugh.
Maybe
And
try
the-
opening it
guy.
next time.
Rotor, did you inform Sar? And then
And then, like, an angry, like, Zarn with a bare face, like, peers around the corner and then up the stairs.
he will see Shauna sitting with a rifle, pointed at him. She doesn't seem very happy either.
This is the one I told you about. Sample, this is. Have you spied on him before?
It's been a couple of years. He knows.
Reported
Well,
on him?
not specifically, but part of my job is to keep an eye on androids. So I
Androids?
suppose.
Looks over
Zarin
to Severn.
starts walking. And he will, like, tilt his eyes well enough for the light of the forge to catch, and then a blue glow will appear all across his face, the lines of circuitry embedded into his skin.
Shauna will gasp. Heavens above!
It is well guarded, for a good reason. Conor knowing full well the prejudices that individuals have against androids. And
Well, I certainly don't.
Otha will give sort of a slow whistle.
Before having arrived in Torch, knowing full well the dangers that my father dealt with, and so many others of my kind, at the hands of the Technic League.
I have never done anything that would have made your or anyone's life in Torch worse.
Zarin visibly trembles, not understanding at all the feelings that are running through him. I'm going to channel Conor here, and I'm going to do it with as much calm as I can muster. Now, Sandville spoke with Conor and Clockfather, and it seems that Conor isn't fully together. Conor has been injected with nanites, and they are rewiring his brain. Now, I am rather sure that the Council would fully overlook everything that you've done, and you would certainly prove that you are worth living if you had a way to stop nanites. So, with your knowledge that you have, and your nicks and knacks, do you have a way to stop nanites, Sandville?
Well, if I haven't used it already, I can't check at the moment because it's in my bags, but I might in fact, yes.
I would be very gracious.
Grab the bags.
Alright, sure. Bring it over.
Zarin will gently take them and set them down, and then notice that Sandville is like horribly tied. Not sure whether he wants to steal the rope. And
What point?
how does it look? And he'll begin like slowly like unfurling the bags.
It should be one of those pistol looking like things with the not the blue stuff but the yellow stuff. And looking through the bags,
hope
you
he's not
indeed
lying.
find an object that looks like he's described. A
Alright.
plastic pistol-like object with a nozzle instead of a barrel and a yellow liquid.
Like the one we found?
Very similar.
We found a pistol thing? I think I was AFK at
the
that point.
nozzle.
I found 2.
Zarin will eye it, and then eye Sanville and says, "Alright. We should all go together then. That way, we can all see firsthand whether this will actually work."
Yeah, Pimian pipes up and says, "Now, normally I'm not the kind of guy to be saying this kind of thing, but I hope you realize that if this causes any sort of adverse effect to our dear friend Mr. Bane, then your life is forfeit, right? You know this."
Yes, I am in fact very well aware of my current situation, as well as very much aware of the musket currently pointed at my head.
Just a disclaimer, standard
That's what it's
procedure.
called, huh?
Zarin will look over at Shonda and say, "I don't think he can actually do anything in his predicament. You can look at him."
She looks at him and says, it never hurts to be more safe. These creatures are devious and murderous.
It's actually more out of concern for the town. We've already attracted enough detention, dragging Conor through. You walking with the musket pointed the entire way would make things a bit worse.
This looks to someone says, must be glad that I found you, huh?
She grunts and says, "Well, I suppose I'll try to spare the town from it." She slings the musket over her shoulder.
Please.
Should we bring him over discreetly, or?
We just walk.
I think walking will suffice. And
Should we untie him?
I think untying him would also work just as well. I don't think he'll be leaving us.
Alright.
Shonda has a face that says that she thoroughly disapproves by untying him, but she won't say anything, and she'll...
It's not my town. But yeah, I mean, evil slavers is generally not a good thing to have around.
Zarin is gonna look at Sanville and sign, look at the pistol, and fucking go into stag form and begin rushing fucking down the roads again, wondering why Conor couldn't have built like this damn foundry closer to the temple.
It's not like...
and we'll walk with Senville at a brisk pace
What's the
behind.
temple proximity tax? That's
Yes. We do own all the land, you see.
the Lord made it.
It's beautiful money.
Sanville does follow you.
Good. Though,
Again, like
Was there
prepared
a
action
problem? We'll get
attack
there.
if he tries anything.
move, prepare, move, prepare.
Yeah, move, prepare. Basically a hand.
Unfortunately, the problem with like having someone with like a ranged weapon who wants to use it on you is that it's hard to run.
Now let's not hope it's like a gun of acid. And he's like, just put it to his temple and press the
And
trigger.
that was just
and like
cackle, like,
corrodes his face off. That would be
My plan is complete.
like...
Yes,
Who
with
knows?
Conor's death now, the Ascension
Exactly.
control.
Yeah, and then
Exactly.
he like teleports away, like
And then like
suckers.
fucking the league mothership
We're like,
descends upon Torch.
no!
You actually, if that happened, I would be impressed if I adventure path. I'd be like, wow.
Of course we can trust him to stop the nanites. He will then vaporize Connor's face and teleport away. Like, what a motherfucker.
With his
Teleportation magic
still
when we're at,
spell.
like level 2.
At the same time, he has stolen all of their shit.
Yeah.
The inside of the temple is still rather busy, as, well, Conor is being crowded by everyone. And as you with Sanville approach, Conor does look at Sanville, saying, Sanville. Sanville looks at Conor, saying, Conor, you look rather worse for wear. Yes.
Zarin
All right.
will stride into the mob of acolytes, taking shit from no one. 18 strength can do that.
We've already paid them enough. They could go have their gourmet dinner somewhere.
Yep.
Right, now you have to simply take this, and if it is indeed nanites doing something to his head, then you simply have to press it against his temple and pull the trigger.
Zoran isn't going to take the time to analyze this shit. He's going to take the gun, press it to Conor's temple, pull the trigger.
Persona.
And then I've killed my adopted father.
In front of Val, too.
Yeah. Just splattered all over.
Rain sprinkle in the face.
That's a great excuse to go adventuring. I will murder every single person at the Technic League.
And Android was too emotionally inept to not kill my foster father when he was given terrible advice.
By a Technic
Connor
League wizard.
flinches slightly as Zarin presses the trigger, and then, well, nothing really seems to happen. Connor looks at Sandal, looks at Zarin. What exactly was that?
Zarin
We all shrug.
Zarin looks at Connor and say, I told that you said nanites. And I figured that in order for a gentleman of the Technic League to prove his value in this case, considering that there are those among us, a shifty eye back to the musket wielder,
The
including
good people.
myself, who don't much care for slavers and murderers, thought he might have something to help against nanites.
And I, in fact, did. Well, truth of the matter is the vitality serum, as the Technic League likes to call it. It's very glorious, isn't it? It's actually against radiation effects, but nanites are basically the same thing. Connor frowns. No, they're not.
Zarin looks to Connor and then looks back to him.
Well,
Shonda
the
whispers to
serum
Rotha,
should have
what's a
worked.
nanite?
Does it? It's something you have in your head, like a thought. So
She frowns deeply.
imagine the worst thing you could.
She looks.
That's
She
small
looks
enough.
over to Sandal. Yes.
Then have that be small enough to invade your mind and change your thoughts to love it.
She looks simply aghast.
That is how I understood them. My case, they would be tiny robots with scissors in
These aren't
the
like-
face.
Looks between Sandville and Connor and say, well, Connor, you're at least aware enough to make that assessment. Whenever I first pulled you from that coffin, you were not so aware.
Yes, but I would like to give the dear Clockfather here the credit for that. And if it turns out that Sandville's vitality serum did in fact help as well, I will not acknowledge that fact. Still, Sandville, thanks.
And looks over at Sandville and says, well, Connor, he invaded our home, snooping around in the forge. He did offer to help, though. I don't hold any ill will against him, even though he knows I'm an android and is a part of the Technic League.
As reported you.
What do you think?
Connor nods. I've suspected as much for many months now. It was simply too convenient, the stories he told about how he suddenly got access to all these things. Some of them he's actually selling here. I do, however, think that he might be the lesser evil when it comes to the Technic League. Yes, if I'm gone and if it is reported that there's something really strange going on in Torch, there might be other agents from the Technic League coming who are not nearly as...
You
Well,
did tell us that there was something strange going on in Torch. Maybe
Oh,
you should
yes.
relate that information to the good Conor and Clockfather and Saren as well.
Yes, the proprietor of the Silver Disc Hall, Garmin Uldrath, I believe that he has a warehouse where he's storing something rather strange. And in addition to that, he has, I think, made some sort of deal with the strange purple-haired lady who appeared, well, really just before the torch went out.
Darren twitches his head. Pretty sure that, like, purple hair would be like a recognizable feature here in town if that had ever been seen. Has anyone ever been mentioned or seen that has purple hair? At least as far as Darren knows?
As far as Darren knows, no.
Okay. Sorry. Tilts his head. Purple-haired woman.
I think I've heard the rumors about that just before I left for my first expedition as well. It would make sense. Well, it really wouldn't make sense. However, there is someone who went down there, and none of us have found who that was yet. I suppose it would be easy enough to see if whatever Senville is saying is in fact true by just seeing what's in the warehouse.
Tana looks over to
Easily go and do
Conor
that.
and- Yes, we can certainly perform such an operation for you if you wanted. It seemed like something we would get the blessing of the council for first, and not storming off ourselves.
Conor
Operating in
raises
foreign
an eyebrow.
territory and all that.
First of all, technically I am still on the council, and second of all, as a councilman, I can tell you that the council will not allow trespassing.
Indeed,
So-
and that's why we would ask.
What's the punishment for trespassing? He just looks at Sandville.
Well, it's usually judged on a case-by-case basis, usually some minor jail time or a fine.
Can we trust this one here with you?
Zarin looks over at Connor. I can afford to pay the fine.
Conor smiles. Well, nobody has to know of it, of course. Joram looks away.
Shonda smiles. A shadow operation. Excellent. I love those.
Not to mention that Garmin Ulrest's name coming up again. He expressed interest in all of us earlier.
Yes, he tried to get us into his establishment quite insistently.
It's a terrible place.
And then he then excused himself, went upstairs somewhere. She looks over at Saren. I don't suppose you saw him up there.
Zarin shakes his head. No, there was a locked staff door at the end of a hallway. I didn't bother checking that.
You did spend an impressive amount of time up there, though.
Conor blinks.
Zarin says, I did not notice, Garmin.
Suppose you wouldn't have.
I am rather alert.
In that case, it seems to me we have two possible outcomes. We can return down into the caves and scour it clean for whatever we missed before we retreated up here, or we can commence with the warehouse operation.
I believe we'll have to wait a day for
She nods. That is true.
cleric to. I do think we should continue down to see if we can find out what happened to the torch, though.
Yes, but according to our new best friend here, she shoots a poisonous look at Sandville. He said that something of that was related to the mysterious warehouse as well.
Is he also a no one needs to know? Looks to Conor.
It would be better.
A barrel or something? Storm in?
Raise an eyebrow. There might be barrels in the foundry, although I think just keeping an eye on him might be enough. Right, Sandville? Sandville nods vigorously.
He is a wizard of the League. If we let him go and give him back his spellbook, he might just teleport away. She looks at him. I have seen it happen.
Oh, you flatter me, but I'm not quite capable of such
Zoran
powerful
says-
magics quite yet.
I would actually be willing to let him go, with the concern that, and Zarin says, although I don't particularly like to admit it, the attention around here is getting rather... He looks over at Shonda. If one of the Technic League's agents were to disappear around here, with all of the rumors and disturbances that were happening, plus Torch's light going out for such an extended period of time, I think that would attract greater attention as well.
She frowns, nods slowly. I suppose that is true. If he disappeared at such a sensitive time, it might raise more suspicion.
If he doesn't, however, all of every single word we're saying here and now is going to go to them.
Zarin looks over at Sandville. I don't know that.
I do have to say I like the town rather a lot, and I think you are considering me to be a person that I'm really not.
That'll be for Conor to decide.
And for you to prove, I think. Looking at him. You have this serum, or whatever you call it, as a good start, but you can't really expect us to sort of grimaces.
Well, I have some other gadgets and knickknacks, of course, that might be useful to you that I could, of course, sell you with a rather large discount. And perhaps, well, you see, my only reason for joining the Technic League in the first place is to save my own curiosity, which I know the professor here quite thoroughly understands. And if you are, instead of the Technic League, able to provide the things that I'm interested in, then I have no reason to be a member of the Technic League anymore, of course. Although officially, of course, I could remain a member of the Technic League and maybe help you even more. He shrugs.
She looks at him and says, I suppose it's worth a try, but...
Zarin pinches the bridge of his nose and basically says, I suppose it's worth a try. He just sort of shakes his head, unable to process.
Shonda looks over to the Clockfather Yorm and says, Clockfather, sometimes clerics of your vocation is able to scry a man's soul, tell something of, well, what type of a man he is. Would you be able to do something similar with good Sandville here?
Jerome turns around saying, perhaps with some preparation, even though the powers bestowed upon me by the the goddess of invention are rather numerous, I do not think she would approve of exactly such procedures.
Shonda snorts, mumbles something about bloody good as the gods then if they can't be useful.
Maybe if you were to pay a little bit.
Oh, I will shoot him! I will shoot you if he says that.
Well, you can purchase a first level spellcasting for 10 gold.
Is that what the Clockfather is implying, sheep?
He can't do it, but maybe he knows.
Roll me a sense motive.
We can earn you a bit of, do a bit of money. Should be available.
You do not think that's what he is implying. You
Okay.
are quite sure that he's just telling you how it is.
I would have run him through.
Still, the acolyte's good.
Zarin basically well, I need to find a new god. I guess.
You know, if you call out you'll give anything for knowing this man's alignment, then probably someone will answer.
That's not really what I'm saying, though.
I would figure that, transitioning to metagame here, I would figure that investigating the warehouse falls under the umbrella of what the hell happened to the Torch.
Yeah.
If this is what all transpired.
It's
faster to check
The
that
problem is
thing out.
if we go there, the idea Rothor doesn't really dislike this guy a whole lot. I mean, he seems to be kind of a dick with whole actually breaking in to take the crones away. I mean, that is breaking, entering, and theft.
So I am actually willing to trust what Sandville said completely, if only because of what we know about Garmin.
It seems reasonable for me to give him the benefit of the doubt in this case. He certainly, I mean, in Shonda's eyes, she certainly detests him for.
But he
the
did break
organization
in.
He did. I mean, he has proven himself to be duplicitous. It might, if you're generous, that might be because he is so curious that Pimion would totally break in.
He walked by and was like, "Oh!"
But that's also his job.
I will go
because
around to check that the little girl is sleeping before I sneak into the house.
That's like his job to sneak into places and spy on
Yes,
stuff.
spy.
Mm-hmm.
My concern here is that we should probably keep him so we know where he is until we have that thing dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Like
him in a
I'm
jail
not
cell.
saying like take him up and shoot him, but I'm not saying like just send him on his way now.
Jail cell.
Maybe keep his spell book or something.
Just like
Well, I mean, you know as well as anyone that like a wizard who has their spells memorized doesn't need like a spell book in order to cast them. They'd already have them
Cast?
memorized.
he and
Just buys another spell book.
the idea with taking it was basically so you could check out and see what sort of spells is in it.
You also don't want to lose your spell book if you're a wizard.
Regardless, maybe just like.
Actually, can I
he
check
clearly can lock himself. He can clearly open locks. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if the Foundry Tavern has like shitty locks, but
Well, I mean, a knock spell.
Can I check his book? What spells are there?
You could check his spellbook, yeah.
called like the Tome of Destruction.
Spellcraft or
It's the term of vile darkness.
Read magic. The cantrip would be enough to simply identify the spells he knows.
Well,
okay.
Professor,
yeah.
Hmm.
Vile despair.
Horrid will
What
thing.
does the spellbook say about
Yeah.
a man?
Yeah, let's see. Spellbooks aren't really my thing, honestly.
Well, you can
But I
read
can
magic.
read magic on it, so yeah, I'll do that.
It's kind of like when you die and then they check your sins. This is basically what we're doing with him right now.
Mhm.
What sort of
Well,
spells does
Let's
this guy
decide your
have?
fate.
His spellbook contains a variety of spells up to second level.
So,
Powerful guy. Can't do that. Like
Yeah.
7th thing for me.
does he have spells of the necromancy school or the mind control schools?
No.
Then what?
He's
Type of
probably
devilish
like,
fiend are you?
Like Nuck?
He does not have knock.
He's a thief. Well,
I mean, it can be good to have like the spy
I mean, like,
potentially
Yeah,
working for
but-
us.
I just don't care like what class he is or whatever.
no. It's it would have been nice if that had been like a specialized mind control people spell or something like that.
I mean, as a matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, with 2 members of the council here, like this officially becomes not my problem.
I
If they
totally
say
think this
they're
guy's
fine
okay.
with him, I guess we can't really hold him.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
if I was a more chaotic person, I'd steal all his crap and leave him for dead. But
I mean, I am a chaotic person, as it turns out.
for now, the
I mean,
council.
like, I'm personally not okay with taking his stuff. I figure that whatever like he gave us for me to put into Conor is fucking pricey enough that I'm not going to pay for
Well,
it.
he should
If I
still,
was not a good person,
should still compensate us somehow. Like give us some free knickknacks and stuff.
maybe he can give us like
I-
free identifications or something.
If this is,
I'm pretty sure Conor can do that. Like, I don't think that.
I don't
Well,
live here.
he did say he would give us a nice discount at his store.
Should
so
we?
that's
Should
nice.
we? I mean, we're trying to bribe himself free, which I'm
Yeah,
not
that
okay
works.
with. Like, I will not. That
No,
I
totally.
I wouldn't want to let him bribe me. I'm okay with that.
just compensation, fair pay
But
for fair work.
regardless, perhaps Jorm can take him under his wing for now. Well, we go and take a look. We find out that there's nothing, that he's not involved in anything else, then,
Sure.
I don't see a huge problem with Technic League people.
I could use a rest before we go and do something dangerous.
Yeah.
Think it's going to be dangerous in the warehouse.
Yeah.
They said it
I
was
think
heavily
it's gonna
guarded.
be-
you swarm with like rope fist thugs.
Yeah.
You have to imagine they all have sneak attack.
Yeah. I do have one
I'd
spell left
actually
today.
rather go down into the tunnels below and check those first, though.
I don't think so. I figure like the warehouse is closer.
It takes less
It's just to
time
finish
check
that
them.
up. But
Are we gonna?
I'm sure it'll be there the next day.
who
I think
knows?
it's gonna be
Let this guy
way-
go and he goes down and loot everything and leaves. be the first time Pathfinder kills. I sell it back to you.
I have one spell left today. Should I heal Rothor because he'll be not at full health with just sleeping?
Yes. You should.
Or should I try to identify a tech thing?
I'm sure a new friend here can identify tech things for us.
Okay, doke. Yeah.
That's a grenade.
Oh,
There
we
you
used
go,
it as
full
a
health
key.
for Rothor.
Huh.
Like, yeah. it worked.
Yeah, it was very
Well,
loud.
apparently Conor disagrees with him, so who do you
Let's
trust
see.
the more?
Conor. Like, is it? No question here.
He built a purification plant.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good.
Yeah, this guy just spies on sleeping girls. That's what he does.
And reports to his superiors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like,
Yes,
oh,
my
so
master.
Today the sleeping girl was sleeping on her side.
Yes. I observed her.
Right, so since this is going to be the last session we have for a while, maybe... I don't know how much more we're going to do. I know Sheep did say he wanted to go for a while.
I would just put that out there as an offer, essentially to go an hour or two later, maybe.
How long would you think the warehouse would take?
Probably not too long.
Sounds like a thing we could do then.
Sure.
It would be good for me to get all my spells back too. And also, by us sleeping a day, we can basically determine whether Connor's going to get better or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a sleep.
You want to do a 5-minute break or something? I need to get a drink and stuff.
I need to do a bio break anyway, so yes.
Jake, were you
Yeah.
gonna go at some point?
No, I'm going next. I'm going tomorrow, not tonight. Yeah, I already bought my ticket and everything. So yeah, I'll be right back.
All right,
And you want to leave Sandal in the temple? Or what did you decide?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we'll leave him with.
We'll keep an eye on him.
We'll leave him with Jorm and Conor. They can decide what's gonna be up there.
They're
Yeah, that's-
presumably smart people.
There does seem to be plenty of acolytes who have caught a word or two, who are now eyeing Sandal with a lot of suspicion.
Also,
Old person, that'll be 20 gold.
we will we'll ask if Sandwell would be willing to identify some of the technical knickknacks we found.
Oh, he would be more than happy.
Great. Let's identify everything.
Give me a list then.
Well, whatever we picked up down there before we ran out, like everything in the medical room. It was like a syringe gun and like a thing with a nozzle and other stuff.
And other stuff.
Yeah, you said you were gonna post a list, but I never saw.
Oh, I didn't. That is very true, actually. Alright. In the room where you found
Plus
Conor.
one cold Cicadi greatsword, maybe. Like one of those.
A gravitational rifle. Like, oh.
Still the most curious about that first cylindrical button
I
thing
mean,
we
even
found.
the plus one
yeah.
construct main adamantine short sword wouldn't be so bad.
Gatling laser.
By the way, is those short
Heavy
swords-
power armor plates.
The short sword were just masterwork short swords.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
good for
what
money.
proficiency are they?
Simple, I think.
Simple might. There might be martial. A short sword might be martial. Let's take a look.
Let's get some rolls for Sandal, whether or not he can identify these things. Does he even have the... Yeah, he does have the feet. Of course he does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
High level. He has like a similar one. He's like, I don't know what this is. What mine is.
The first item, the black box with a screen, is a radiation detector. It detects
Oh, like a
radiation.
Geiger counter?
Essentially, yeah. It is, however, Sandal will also tell you, rather dented and might not always work as expected. What this mechanically means, since it is the first time that this is coming up, it is a time-worn item. Time-worn means two things. One, it has the chance to malfunction, which means it's either going to work worse or even better in some situations. And two, it cannot ever be recharged.
Oh,
At the
It
end
is
with the
essentially a
charms.
consumable.
how many charges?
This one I need to double check. I wanted to take a break to go to the toilet. You're terrible.
Sorry.
It's a great
no,
bottle.
It's fine.
We can do this after session.
Yeah, let's do it now. I don't need to go to the toilet.
Okay.
Okay, are you sure?
And then
Yes.
Sheep's just gonna, his bladder's just gonna explode.
Well, more like it's done. I mean,
Also,
He has a bottle next to him. He's a pro raider, Sheep is.
is anyone actually writing these things down?
no.
I am.
I am.
Okay. Okay, the first item is the following. A radiation detector with 2 charges. A
Yeah.
radiation detector, I'll give you what it does.
Oh god.
Oh, God.
This list is getting big.
It detects radiation.
It's a Geiger counter, basically.
Yes.
Yep. And since it's time worn, maybe I'll carry it because since I have the archaeologist trait, I roll twice when rolling for glitches or whatever,
Alright, sure.
and I pick the result.
Sure.
The second item is essentially the exact same thing that Zarin used on Conor, the small plastic pistol-shaped thing, except this one is not loaded. It is called a Mad Lance,
Oh, that's fucking cool.
which is... Hold on. It's essentially a way to administer a potion by stabbing someone slightly.
Like a wand.
See, the next item he was not able to identify, which makes him very curious. The 2 plastic canisters are 2 nanite canisters, which are essentially ammunition for anything that uses nanite canisters as ammo.
Okay.
Say again?
2 ammo. The 2 tubes of a brown mud-like substance need to look up. He will tell you are a substance called hemochem. It is a substance that you essentially smear on a wound that heals it ever so slightly. In mechanical terms, a single dose of hemochem gives you fast healing 1 for 1 minute.
Look at all these things I'm learning. I hope they've been typed down already, because I wasn't here.
Yeah, I'm writing them.
Now, do you know what each of those things corresponds to in regards to the descriptions, Jake?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So that's only 1 item he was not able to identify. In addition to that, which I've already mentioned, you found 3 dented flare guns, which in essence are time-worn flare guns. Which means they will work for the single shot that they have, but they might also not work. Or work even better, that's also possible.
What exactly were the nanite canisters? You said we could use them as ammo, right? But what do they do? Do they carry nanites, or do they destroy nanites?
They have nanites in them. They are used as ammo by any device that uses nanites, essentially. I do not believe you have any of those things
I
yet.
need a nanite gun.
Yep.
Shoot nanites at people.
Can he identify the old tech items that we have?
If you give me a list, yes.
There's the rod with the button, and I think that's it.
Let's see, the rod with a button. He can.
Yes,
God.
finally.
Well, there's also that medium-sized metal stick. Did you get that identified?
Oh,
too?
yeah. No, I didn't think of that.
Okay, let's do the other one first. The slender metal rod with a button is... Let me find you the exact description. I should have kept these tabs open. It is a stun baton.
Aha!
Handy.
It is a light melee weapon, essentially like a one-handed mace that needs martial weapon proficiency. It is... it does 1d8 electricity damage on every hit and 1d6 bludgeoning.
Electricity,
Wow.
you say?
Yeah, it's
pretty
definitely
good.
useful considering how the robots are vulnerable to electricity.
Yeah, that's
It is,
pretty
however, dented, meaning it is a time-worn item which cannot be recharged. This one has 9 charges left. It needs 1 charge every round.
Is it possible to not press the button and just use it as like a mace?
Yes.
Do the charges have to be consecutive, or is it like a swift action to activate the charge?
It's a swift action to activate.
Okay.
You said 1d6 bludgeoning, 1d8 electricity? Or reverse?
1d8 electricity, 1d6 bludgeoning.
Well, potentially useful.
As for the other item, let's see if we can find out what that is. Yes. That's, well, it's a thing that casts a cone of light in front of you. It's a flashlight.
Yeah!
Amazing!
Don't need Zarian anymore.
Yeah.
Just put like a thing on your head so you can have it on your head. Like a head.
Oh,
like
that's
a
kind of handy.
helmet.
The stun baton. People who are proficient with saps are proficient with stun batons. So even though I'm not proficient in martial weapons, I can still use it.
One thing that's getting very important, keep track of your batteries. Time 1 items always come with charges already in them, and they cannot be recharged. Anything else, unless otherwise stated, comes as empty and needs a battery.
And that's the glittering silver discs.
Yes.
And we currently have 5 of those.
Only 5?
Do you want me to keep track of the tech items then?
I think.
I can.
I mean, if you want to also keep track of items, sure, but
I
that's
mean, I
not going
guess
to
if you're
stop
keeping
me from
track of
jotting
everything,
things
you
down.
might as well. Yeah.
I mean, I'm admittedly not writing down the descriptions of each item. I'm just keeping
Yeah,
like a catalog list.
I've got
You can
them.
write down descriptions.
Yeah. I'll probably convert them to a Google Doc. I just have them on a notepad right now, but I'll probably put them in a Google Doc so you can check it at any point.
Well, that was all very nice.
Yeah, one request I do have is if you ever forget the how an item works, don't look it up on the SRD. Ask me instead.
Okay.
Or ideally write down what I'm writing in chat so you know what it does.
Alright.
Yeah,
Well-
I have done that.
I'm gonna be right back.
I will take my break now as well because you people don't let me. And I really have to go actually.
What the hell did you people do to him? I expected us to be like good to go when I got back.
Yeah, I know. I want to get a drink and a snack, and then
They were
I
like,
got back.
items, loot.
Fucking goddamn vultures. Jesus. We got paid fucking 800 gold pieces each. No! Items!
Still haven't seen any
Treasure!
money.
Well, we still haven't got the money, but
Really? Is that the fucking card you're gonna play?
I mean, we've earned it. About these tech things, I'm pretty sure the things that Rothor is going to be using sort of on a day-to-day basis are going to be pretty obvious what they are when we find them. Oh, a huge, like, hand with a hammer on it. What could that be?
Well, we find a lightsaber.
Like a
Excuse me, energy sword.
like a chain blade,
Oh, yeah,
What could that
chain
be?
Sword.
like a two-handed chain blade. I don't know.
But of
Oh,
course,
what's that humanoid-shaped metal suit that you can step into and move around in? Wonder what that does.
I
Hang on, wait.
Oh,
armor.
I stepped away for a sec, but did you say 800 gold pieces each, Smith?
We haven't gotten paid that yet, but the reward
okay.
for returning Conor Bane back is 4,000 gold pieces.
Right, yeah, it makes sense. I was not paying attention for a minute.
We also have a huge pile of silver discs that we could potentially
True.
trade in.
26. That's not a huge pile.
But they were like worth like 200 gold pieces each or something
What?
crazy.
Really?
No, they're worth
No, they
10.
were worth 10.
10, but that's like so much gold.
What the fuck is wrong with you people?
They really want new weapons.
You'd think like you've never been adventurers before.
This will escalate around like level 14. We'll get a ton of money because they're
We
like,
need to-
Avenger Path ending, who cares?
We need to find the Elf King's treasury.
Like Erebor, the Lonely Mountain, somewhere.
Yeah, like we did in Way of the Wicked, you know. We found that ancient
Yeah,
ice
it's
elf vault with just so much gold in there. It was great. I love that place.
Treasure
Shooting up
goblin.
money everywhere. By that standard, we should make sure we enslave all the people of the realm here. And also tax them tons, because screw 'em all. Who cares?
Once we get that mothership and fly around on that, we can.
I think someone else is already handling the taxing.
Yeah.
We need
We just
high
need
wind.
to take it from them.
So
Or
did
Technic
we?
League, our spaceship wants.
We start attacking Technic League tax collectors. Yeah, I bet that'll
Yeah.
go well.
Oh, that'd be great.
They'll be really happy.
That's when they fucking send out their tax. And let me guarantee you, I bet it's better than anything we found.
Deploying death robots.
Well,
Well, you know, nanites are pretty terrifying. You can't do anything about them. They're just sort
releasing
of in your face now.
releasing the inheritor on us.
Except now you also have Dex.
Yeah.
Well, if nanites are small robots, I could like mind control them and make them do what I want.
But
They
maybe
would
their
be a
minds are
swarm,
so
right?
like yeah.
Well, they'd
maybe
be
they're
too
like-
small to see. so
I mean,
you
it
can't
might be like a
target them.
swarm. Like, yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
just
I could use
imagining,
that
like,
necklace.
basically it would work like a gas.
Yes, wear that necklace. I have unlimited power.
I did think about, like,
Swarm
being like, well, you could have this, Conor, but then I was like, actually, I wouldn't even know what a nanite is.